What's going on, guys? ShadowNinja here, and today we have a fun build for you Titans centered around the Void subclass. Now, a few things here. I swear to God, if I get a Graviton is better comment, I'ma literally... Also, like usual, if you guys want to check out this build for yourself, the dim link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Since this is using a raid exotic, I will put Graviton Lance in the dim link as well for those of you who do not have this raid exotic, but I swear to God, that's not an excuse to drop a Graviton Lance is better comments. Also, if you guys enjoy the content and want more from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified for when I do drop more content. With that out of the way, let's go into the details. To my surprise, Bungie's changes to the Titan class continue to amaze me, honestly. The measures they took to make them feel better is from the overall class changes to improving some exotics. Good job, Bungie. I hope to see more. Seriously, continue the good work on this end. Now, for this build, we are using one of those exotics that has seen a bit of an overhaul to how it functions, that being Mask of the Quiet One. This helmet used to read like this: grants ability energy when you're damaged. When critically wounded, regain maximum health on kills. Yeah, that was like kind of bad. Actually, really bad. I wanted to love this exotic. It looks awesome, but it just wasn't working as good as it looks. Now, things have changed, and it reads like this: grants ability energy when you are damaged while you have a void super equipped, rapid final blows, and final blows while critically wounded, grant devour. This is a phenomenal change. One I'm shocked Bungie did. Basically giving you devour all the time is insane, and in my opinion, devour is one of the most, if not the most powerful subclass buff in the game at the moment. So having it all the time is just an absolute game changer, and hence why I love it so much here. Another exotic we are using, like I alluded to before, is going to be Collective Obligation. This is an exotic weapon from the Val Disciple raid, so not everyone may have it, but that's why I'm placing Graviton Lance as an alternative option, even if it pains me to do that. So with collective action, we have a few things here that is great. The exotic trait Umbral Sustenance works incredibly well with Mask of the Quiet One, and it reads like this: this weapon's magazine is automatically reloaded when you gain Devour, a Void Overshield, or become invisible. So this basically is making this weapon a Void bad juju, and that alone is pretty nice in its own way. But the main fluff here is going to be the main exotic perk, Void Leech. This weapon leeches void debuffs when damaging targets that are suppressed, weakened, or volatile. Once charged, using the alternate weapon action to swap firing modes, in this mode, damage from this weapon applies the same void debuffs that were leeched. So this is awesome and really gives you a fun little niche thing to build into that you don't really have elsewhere. And again, this is a really effective thing to build into if you keep it in mind. So imagine every burst being volatile, or every burst dumping out a 15% weaken effect, or even dumping out a very underrated effect called suppression. Lots of fun stuff here, and kind of why I like it the most compared to Graviton Lance. But as always, with you Graviton lovers, you can't ignore this and use your favorite exotic pulse rifle and be boring. Just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. You tell me. So with that being said, let's jump in the game and talk about this build. So per usual, we got the drip. I'll be honest, if you guys are manga fans or anime fans, we are going for a Terraform Mars cockroach. Yeah, if you guys know what I'm talking about, I'll probably put it here on screen. They're creepy, but also badass. Recommend reading Terraform Mars, even though it kind of gets a little bit wacky, but don't watch the anime. Anime is pretty bad. So back on track. Let's jump in and talk about the subclass. Hope you guys appreciate the drip. So we're using the Void subclass. Personally, going to be using Twilight Arsenal for some DPS and things like that. You could use Ward of Dawn, perfectly fine, especially with the cooldown of the super being the fastest here, but Twilight Arsenal is really good and my preferred super choice. When it comes to Barricade, I'm using Towering Barricade because we're using Bastion. However, if you guys want to use Offensive Bulwark, then you can use Rallying Barricade, but honestly, just personal preference there. It depends on what aspect you're using. More on that later. Our melee is going to be Shield Bash because Shield Throw is kind of not that consistent. And then we're using Vortex Grenade, preferably here. We'll go into a little bit of that when you see the fragments. Now, the aspects, the one aspect I will ultimately say should be here always is controlled demolition. Basically hitting a target with a void ability or volatile explosion makes them volatile. Yeah, this is really good, whether it's shield bash, whether it's our grenade. It is incredible, and basically the main void debuff we want to be getting here to really enhance and crack out our collective obligation. Bastion is really good for overshield and things like that. However, I will admit, if you want offensive bulk work for some of that grenade recharge and things like that, while you have an overshield, it's really good. It's really powerful and something to keep in mind. Again, I prefer Bastion. You can use offensive bulwark. Either or is going to perform ideally the same with different benefits and things like that. Now, for the fragments, we are using Echo of Reprisal. Final blows when surrounded by combatants grant super energy. Again, allowing for some of that super span, things like that, really good. We have Echo of Explosion. Void ability final blows cause targets to explode. So really good for just being very void. It's really fun, things like that. Echo of Revenants, your lingering grenade effects, vortex grenade, void wall, void spike, axion bolt have increased duration. Again, really good here because Devour, throwing grenades, things like that is going to be our best friend. And then we have Echo of Starvation, picking up a void breach or overpower grants Devour. Again, this is a little bit on the overkill side. However, I find it really nice to kind of overkill things because, yeah, you sometimes want to overkill things because the harder the content, the less you can overkill it, kind of balances out and things like that. So again, really good there. The main juice here is going to be the aspects, the weapon, and the exotic helmets. But again, those are some of the fragments to kind of enhance and get some more out of it. When it comes to our loadout, besides the collective obligation, we're using Lost Signal for our seasonal artifact debuff for weakening, and then we have a hammerhead with target lock under over or destabilizing rounds onslaught. I've just been preferring under over and target lock, but that's just my personal preference. When it comes to the mods here, we have Ashes to Assets, Avoid Siphon or Harmonic Siphon there, and Dynamo. For our arms, we have Impact Induction, Font of Figures for that, I guess you could say, strength regen rate being up there when I have an armor charge, and then Heavy Handed. For our chest piece, we have Conductive Dampener, Void Reserves, because we're using a power weapon, and Sniper Damage Resistance. Again, some of that stuff to just help us with some survivability. And then when it comes to our legs, we have Invigoration, Innervation, and then for some reason, Arc Weapon Surge. That must have been just lingering. Put a Void Weapon Surge, or you can put Elemental Charge, whatever serves your boat there. And then for our mark, we have Time Dilation, Font of Restoration, and Special Finisher for the obvious stuff there. For our artifact, honestly, this isn't voided out too much, but there is some stuff here that is pretty fun. For one, Supernova, picking up a Void Breach causes your next source of void damage to create a lingering weakening pulse. I'm not really building into this too much, but again, I just have it selected. God forbid a Void Breach summons, because I do have a lot of people around me that use the Void subclass. Another thing is Concussive Reload. Using grenades to damage the boss, damage champions, or break combatant shields weakens them. We're using this with our Lost Signal, which is a really good synergy there to just kind of weaken your target and do a lot more damage. And then Power Pain, rapid final blows against weakened combatants grant you Devour. Again, nothing too crazy here. I do think that some of the stuff when it comes to the seasonal artifact gets kind of nullified by just the overall build itself. I do think for certain things Void, this is not really the greatest artifact, but again, there's some things there to kind of enhance and things like that. And since we're using grenade launcher, rapid impacts, dealing damage with grenade launcher temporarily increases the reload speed of the stuff. And then again, depending on what you're doing, Fellow the Revenant is going to be a very nice little artifact to put, but again, not really facing scorn in some of the things there, so there's that. But in general, yes, that is pretty much the build. Again, the artifact I don't think is that much important because again, I'm not really building entirely into it. If you do mess around the fragments and you want to utilize Void Breaches a little bit more, then obviously you know what to do there. But yeah, that's the build. Let's jump out and give you guys my closing thoughts. So, hope you guys enjoyed this build. Kind of shocked it took me this long to give the Void subclass alone a spin in this episode. But hey, like they said, it's better to be late than never show up to the party. But in general, guys, if you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to drop this video a like. Helps out the video a ton. Like I said before, if you guys want to pull this build for yourself, dim link will be in the pinned comment and description down below. And of course, if you guys want more from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell to notify for when I do drop more content. But until then, hope you guys have a good one. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.